Hello and welcome to our latest video from Inion Arts. Today I'm going to be looking at different types of strengthener and hardener that you can use with your flowers just to give them a little bit of more rigidity so that they last a bit longer. So here I've got some black and some white petals. So these ones I'm going to use our pearl strengthener on, and these ones I'm going to use our hardener on. I have got these here as a control group, so I'm not going to be using any type of hardener or strengthener on these, but I will be making them to flowers so you can see the difference between using pearl strengthener and hardener. So I'm going to put these away and we'll come back to those later on. First of all, I'm going to show you the pearl strengthener. And we do all of our strengtheners come in different size tins depending on what we have in stock at the time. We do 125 millilitres, 250 millilitres and 1 litre of the strengthener. So I'm just going to move these out the way because we don't need these just yet. And I'm going to open up the pearl strengthener and you can have a look and see what it looks like. So this has been used quite a lot and its lid's got a little bit difficult to get off. It sets very, very hard like varnish. So here we are. This is what the strengthener, the pearl strengthener looks like. Now you need to give this a good stir because at the bottom you've got this, it kind of separates into two. So you're going to stir all that in. It might take a little time, but it's changing from that yellow colour into something that's quite pearly, hence the name pearl strengthener. And there we are. You can see that inside here, this is actually quite dry, so we need to really get it out of the corners. There we are. It's very runny. It's not like the resin at all. It's extremely runny. Okay. I'm just going to get some paper to put down underneath this because this stuff does go everywhere. I'm going to show you with the white one first of all. So dip it in and dip it out, and I hope you can see that. But it's got quite a different colour already compared to a non-dipped white, and it's very, very runny. I think you can see on the back and on the front it's running around quite a lot, so that will take a while to dry as you're dripping quite a lot here. So I'm just going to take these petals out here and pop them in here ready to dry. There we are. I'm going to carry on dipping these. That's very, very runny. Pop that in there. And the next one. So this pearl does have an effect on the colour. It's less snowdrop. This is a very startling white colour and it changes quite a lot. As you can see, it's starting to run down and it's gathering on the oasis. So you can see it's still quite wet, quite runny afterwards. It's not like the resin which dries so very quickly. This stuff is running off very quickly. There we go. So it's a good thing we put down the paper. And I've made these petals and I've left them to dry for about half an hour, 40 minutes, because you want them to be very dry before you start using the hardener. Now, these are both opaque colours. I think using this pearl one on the translucent colours, you don't see it quite so much. That's a great big change, a very dramatic change there. There we go, let's pop that in there. Yeah, so you can see it's a very different colour from the original. Let's pop him in. Yeah, so I've left these to dry for 30 minutes, 40 minutes before I've been putting them in, because if they're still a little bit wet at all, it doesn't mix well with the hardener. And when these dry, you will lose some of that colour, that kind of, you will get back some of the original colour, but you might be able to see where these leaves have been bent. Can you see it starting to gather? Where there's dips. So where it can pull, it will start pulling. So it's an idea to keep an eye on those. So when you see it, it might be worth an idea taking them out. Okay. Right, here we are. You can see that it is still very liquid. It's still dripping. It's still running down onto the oasis. It's still dripping onto the newspaper that I've got down here. So it's still quite liquid. I'm going to leave those for a minute and see how they get on. And then we'll try the next one. So now we're going to move on to the hardener. So these are the ones we're going to dip in the hardener. And I'll just take them out so the oasis is ready to go. There we are. And here is the strengthener. Again, this comes in different sizes. I'm just going to take the lid off and you can have a look and see what it looks like. Here we go. Looks like treacle. And I'll give it a stir so you can see. Oh, there we are. Very runny. Possibly more runny than treacle, but a very similar colour. Right, I'll just pop that there. I'm going to start with the white ones first. So here's the white. We dip him in, pull him out, and this is a lot thicker than the pearl strengthener. Don't know if you can see that, but it feels heavier to start with. And we're just going to hold it over there to try and drain off as much as we can before we put it in the oasis. And it's got quite a dramatic colour change. I quite like the colour. I think it makes it look almost antique, like old gold in a way. I think it looks quite pretty. I let these drips come off, and then it's still very thick on there, but it's going to run off in a minute. Like the other one was running down the wire stalk, you'll find that happens to that one too. It will drip. There we go. There's a drip onto the oasis. Okay, pop him in there. Here we are. It takes your time doing this because it's a bit of a time-consuming job. And you're going to need to leave these to dry for, I should say, a good 12 hours at least, but I generally leave them for 24 hours and then I know that they're dry and that I can start using them. Otherwise they're going to be very sticky and you'll get them all over your hands and it's not fun to work with. Here we go. I can feel a definite change in weight of these. They feel heavier. As you can see on the spoon, it's all kind of collected in where the bowl of the spoon is. And the same thing's happening to the flowers. Where I've put in twists and bends on the flowers, all the varnish or the hardener is kind of gathering in those little clumps. So what we'll try and do is even that out a bit more. Have a go with the black now. In he goes. So there's the black. There is a change. It's not as dramatic as it is on the white. And there is one, but it's not so noticeable. So I like to use the pearl strengthener on certain colours, like the paler colours, like the white and the pearl itself, or the golden yellow or the primrose. I think that one works particularly well with that. But with the darker colours, I would use this one. That's purely because of the way I like the way it looks. Right. Try not to let them touch, otherwise we're going to end up with a whole load of petals stuck together. Ugh, sticky, sticky, sticky. There's a lot here, a lot running off these. So let's hold it over for a bit longer. One in the side here. There we are. On the next one. So as you can see on the spoon, although I've scraped that off once already, we've got some more gathering there. I'm just going to pull that off. Okay, let's get the last one in, as it drips everywhere. Let's take this one out of the way. Remember to put the lids on after use because these do dry out easily. I'm just going to show you the pearl ones. Pop those back in there so you can see what they look like. And I'll just bring over couple from our control group so you can, so these two here haven't had any strengthener or hardener on them at all. As you can see, this one is looking good and looking good here. These ones are definitely the white ones have definitely taken on a different colour. The black is looking much deeper, whereas over here the black's got a kind of a tinge to it. So I'm going to leave those, let them dry, give them 24 hours, but I'm going to keep an eye on them because I'm going to try and stop it from pooling too much, although Might not be easy, but we'll have a go and we'll see what happens. And we'll have a look at these tomorrow. Hello, welcome back. It's been 24 hours since I applied the hardener and the strengthener. And here we have the control group of white petals. And I will just show you the pearlized ones and what they look like now after they've been hardening for 24 hours. And here we have the pearl ones, and I'll now get the other ones that have also been hardening for 24 hours. And there we go. So you can see it's quite a difference in colour to start with. If you have a look at this one, this is the one that hasn't had any hardener on it. As you can see, there is a slight difference to it. There is a where it's been pooling, but if you have a look at the one with the hardener, it's quite a big difference, and it's definitely pooled here in the base there. So it makes quite a lot of difference. I don't know if you can see this, but on the stalks or the stems, it's run down, and it's actually on the stems there. Just keep these separate. So there is a difference between the different types of hardener and just leaving them plain. There's those two that haven't had any strengthener or hardener on them. There's these two with the pearl strengthener. And there's these two with the normal hardener on them. There you go. So that will give you some kind of idea of what different strengtheners and hardeners we have and what they look like on the actual flowers. And they do have different strengths and weaknesses, and they do change the colour of the resin. But with this black one, I think particularly looks very good with the plain hardener. And I think this one looks really good with the pearl strengthener. It just gives it a different type of texture and a different variation. So I hope you found this useful. If you have, please like the video below and let me know if you've got any comments. Thank you.